Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2014 World Championship Series Europe Premier League round of 16. We're in Group C right now, and we've already had 3 matches. I can't even believe we've got 3 matches. I mean, it's like, where did that go?
What do you mean? It wasn't that fast of games.
It didn't seem that fast, but it just seems like they've flown by. And if you are just joining us, this is what you missed. Welmu defeated by Baby Knight 2-0 in 2 very similar games in the opening match. Stardust then coming through against TLO with a crushing 2-0 win. And Stardust continuing. Well done. They're still awake out there. And Stardust then crushing Baby Knight 2-0 to advance to the quarterfinals. Right now we're going to concentrate on the lower bracket. 3 players left. The winner of our next match plays Baby Knight. And our next match, this is a tough one because it's Welmu versus TLO. We knew that was coming. But here's the point, okay? The German player, his worst matchup is ZVP. The Finnish player's best matchup is PVZ. So, actually, this is not good. And when you look at their history, when they've played each other, Welmu has won every match against TLO. So, right now...
You're building the hype pretty well, aren't you?
Well, he's up against it here. I mean, honestly, did you look at this and go, actually, TLO's got a good chance of getting out? Or did you actually think there's 3 Protoss, they're all very high quality,
yeah.
This is going to be tough?
I look at it more like that. I think TLO has had time to practice a whole bunch against Protoss because he had 3 in his group. And as I said before, TLO, I think, in my opinion, is very, very good against 2 bases play. As much as it didn't particularly prove true against Stardust. In the first game, he had a nice hold against the initial push. So if he's able to see and realize what he's up against from early on, and he prepares well against that, his execution is good enough, I could see him take the series here.
Do you think that both of these players had a disappointing opening game, didn't really show us what they're capable of? I mean, Welmu, we know how good he is, PvP, usually, and actually the games that he played just didn't... I mean, they didn't translate into the kind of form that we know he's capable of. 12th best PvP on planet Earth right now. That didn't look like the same Welmu to me.
Yeah, there is a little bit of inconsistency with him just because of his style maybe as well. And he took chances, again, with going for the same build twice. He got countered pretty hard. And Baby Knight was just too solid for him as well at the same time. So going into this match, he might go back to his comfort zone and just try to outplay his opponent overall, with something a little bit more standard rather than taking chances. Then again, taking chances is Welmu's style as well, so I guess we'll see.
I got to tell you, I nicknamed him Mini White Ra, and there's a reason for this. No, trust me on this. He came up to me this afternoon and he said, I've got some special tactics. And I was like, I'm so proud of you.
If that's all it takes.
Yeah, well, and he says, yeah, but I mean... He's the wildest of all of them that we've got right now, of the young young Protoss players. Ignoring the fact that he may come up with something crazy, what does TLO need to do in this game?
I think TLO, he seemed to have a plan versus Stardust, which was, he never feels uncomfortable going into 3 bases, 4 bases. He was playing some Roach Hydra Viper into transitions, just trying to outplay his opponent straight up. The run-bys that he tried, the splitting his army on one side and then on the other, didn't work out too well. So I think he's probably going to want to look to do a similar style versus Welmu, but just with better execution.
Okay, thank you very much, Todd. It's time for our lower bracket game. And just a reminder for you at home and for you here that are cheering on the man from Germany, this is now or never. He said on Twitter just before this game, it's no change. He still has to win 2 games in a row. There is one change. If he loses, that's it. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to pass you over to our commentary team of Kalaris and Apollo for a terrific match in the lower bracket. It's Welmu versus TLO.
Thanks very much, guys. I lost my mind in the last game, in the last series, but now I'm back. I'm okay. I'm good to go into this next PvP as, PvZ, I should say.
I know, you've been casting so many Protoss mirrors. Yeah. It's imprinted in your brain now.
Yeah. A lot of them. But now we get some PvZ action again with TLO, who's always been looking good in this matchup, and unfortunately kind of got pipped at the post there against Stardust before.
Stardust is a very difficult opponent. Just in the way that he plays is not standard.
Yeah,
it's very weird. It's hard to play against. You don't exactly know what you should be doing all of the time. And he's capable of anything. But this should be a good series. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm expecting similar vetoes from TLO, Yonsu and Habitation being the 2 that should be vetoed out by him. Obviously, in the previous series, we saw actually Stardust get rid of Habitation Station. Interested to see what Welmu gets rid of, though, himself. Depends on what he wants to approach this style with. He said depending on the maps, of course, can depend on what strategy he uses today against TLO. So Yonsu, of course, a standard veto from TLO. Don't like the immortal pushes and just small choky map. Very defensive for Protoss as well if they want to play greedy. And Daedalus Point is Daedalus Point. I mean, which Protoss player likes playing on there?
Not too many. Welmu gets rid of that, and then we'll find out what TLO goes for. Habitation Station, no real big surprises there.
Gold base, not wanting to play with the gold base. You know, the immortal attacks that Welmu could do, taking the gold base powers Protoss rather than Zerg. It's just a really scrappy map. And Polar Knight from Welmu doesn't really fancy his chances taking a third base on there. As we saw from TLO against Stardust, it is hard for Stardust to take a third on that map, even though Stardust did pick up a victory there.
Darn, I was hoping that one of the first maps was going to be Alterzim Stronghold, because I've actually, you know, grown to really like games on that map. You see some really big, long games, and especially what we saw from TLO in the round of 32 was a real treat to behold. So now we are going to go to, well, it was Frost, then it was Heavy Rain, then it was Alterzim, right?
That is right.
Okay.
TLO's strengths are going to be mostly in the early to mid game, because he's very good, as Todd mentioned, at defending the majority of 2-base, 3-base attacks. And Welmu is definitely capable of hitting that area where TLO is strong, but with TLO's, you know, reluctancy to not use swarm hosts, it could hinder him. But I think if he plays a map that is big and the game will drag on, I think he may play like a Zergling Infester Ultralist Broodlord style. I think that would be the best army he could create, rather than a Roach Hydra Viper Broodlord Ultralist. It's very difficult to streamline the upgrades if you play that style, because of course you have to upgrade attack upgrades rather than melee upgrades, but it's a lot easier if you do focus Ling to Ultra. But I'm interested to see what this guy is capable of. He's got good stats against Zerg, and he's done well for himself.
Yes, he does. Welmu throughout WCS, the WCS system so far, 8-3 against Zergs during all like tournaments like DreamHacks, for example, that he's been attending, as well as WCS Europe. But he did mention that he had something special planned, and if he was going up against TLO, so depending on those maps, maybe we'll see something come out a bit funky from him.
Yeah, Frost for Welmu, it usually plays out recently for a lot of Protoss players with taking a fast third base, kind of similar to how Stardust did, but with actual building probes. Stardust didn't do that earlier on. He didn't build probes and built a third. That kind of strategy is quite common, to take a third and use Blink and +2, but I get anything is possible between these two players. And Welmu has hinted that he may have some secret stuff planned for TLO today. He said that he's confident in PvP, but had some special tactics. So, as Red I did mention.
And that's one of the things that really defines TLO. So, like, if you are going to get something sneaky through him, you're going to have to do it really, really well, because TLO is going to be scouting out every little corner, every little avenue, be it with Lings, be it with Overlords, be it with Overseers eventually once that layer is good to go. He's a very information-orientated player, very reactive in that regard, to just get that information and then from there on out, punish you for it.
TLO sporting that new headset of his. It's a very good headset, actually. I have the exact same one.
HyperX. And he's got a beard back, which is always good to see. I like TLO with a beard compared to clean-shaven TLO. But then again, I could say that about anyone being a beard supporter. So,
look at that cheeky grin.
Oh.
As these two players talking a little bit back and forth inside the chat lobby. Looks like they are both ready to play, though, so we will be jumping into this. And Welmu representing that Romanian team, Neurosoft. And Welmu and TLO were my picks as top two, and well, that was thrown out the window. I thought I'd do a bit of an off spin today with my predictions.
I was right with you, man. I was right with you.
No, not today.
We had a bit of a harder time, it seems. One of these guys will be going out, unfortunately, for these players, as well as our predictions. But now we're getting loaded up onto Frost, as Welmu and TLO battle it out to play against Baby Knight later on, to see who's going to advance onto the round of 8 alongside Stardust. So without further ado, let's get into it, guys. One of these guys is going home, whilst one of them will move on. Mr. Welmu just getting himself prepared and set up here as we jump into this game. And I think it's going to be a good series. I really do. They've got good records against the respective races. Yeah, with TLO and Welmu. All right, spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner as our red Zerg. Representing Team Liquid, it is TLO. And up to the top left-hand corner, our blue Protoss. Representing Neurosoft, it's Welmu.
I think both of these players didn't play quite to what they and we expected from them in the first game of the day. What TLO does say is true, that nothing's really changed. He still needs to win 2 games like he did in the first one. But of course, no room for error now. If TLO wants to have that successful year in hope of getting to the global finals at the end of it and being that foreign flame beacon that we all want to have, then getting out the round of 16 in Season 1 is a good start.
Yeah, and if you do, in general, want to reach that position, you have a very busy year ahead of you. TLO has already had a busy year. He's had a good start to the year. He's accrued a lot of points. He's sitting like around 17th, 18th now, which for him at the beginning of this, with that 3rd and 4th in Sao Paulo, is a fantastic start. So if he can continue on.
Starting this game strong too, 3 hatch before pool.
Nice.
And this is smart that he's using it because he's already played against a Protoss today, and he's shown that he is very much so in the mind frame of spawning pool first. Every single game, and on ladder, he uses it every single game too. So going 3 hatchery here, that's the benefit of always opening spawning pool first, is sometimes you throw this out with no risk whatsoever against a Protoss player who isn't going to try and cannon rush a player that always goes spawning pool first. And TLO's shown that today. He's shown it in the past, but today he switched it up in this second series. And he's going to get the full benefits from it.
Yeah, and pulling it out here when he absolutely needs the win is very, very clever indeed to just set that mindset.
Yeah.
As that spawning pool is going to follow things up, along with the gas as well. You want speed out just so you can protect all 3 of these locations. Unfortunately for TLO, that 3rd base isn't exactly in the most opportunistic location because he hasn't spotted his opponent just yet, but still, nah.
Yeah, I mean, he's thrown it there, which can work in a good way if he plays an aggressive style here today. With 3 hatcheries waypointed up, the hatchery in the middle there is used as almost a proxy hatchery to get reinforcements over there fast. Welmu's using a Zealot, which he built to scout with, rather than a probe. But in terms of the 2 build orders against each other, with TLO delaying his spawning pool to get 3 bases before adding that on, adding queens or lings, and then not even adding lings if you look at it, just pure drones, a very greedy opener from TLO, and he is going to get away with this. There is nothing that Welmu can do now to nullify the build that TLO's gone for. It's just an advantage straight away.
And actually, now that I think about it, with the 3rd base location for TLO, I feel that the Overlord down to the bottom right-hand side saw that the Protoss base wasn't there, right? Before that, as that 3rd base was going down. So technically, he could have thrown it down to the bottom right if he was being a more defensive play. So your description of why this will work as an aggressive position might come to fruition here. TLO just might play his heavy layer, Hydralisk Ling style and really put on the pressure.
Definitely think he could do that here. Welmu, who's still got no information on what TLO's doing at all, has got a forge quite early, which is a little bit safer. Of course, can throw down cannons if there was to be an assault immediately, hold on with the sentries and defend, but it also offers him the ability to research +1 attack, which is so common in nowadays to get that in aid to support a 3rd base being taken early, because what are you really going to do with a couple of Zerglings trying to stop that base if Zealots have +1 already? And then that does lead to a smooth transition into the Twilight Council and +2 with Blink. So that could be an option where Welmu goes through here with.
And this poor Zealot might be a little bit dumbfounded if it dies off before it sees the 3rd base. He pulls off drones to actually deal with that. It makes an extractor as well. Good tricks. Good control by TLO so far to save these drones. Oh, it just barely dies off. So only losing 1 drone to that, though. Good.
And looking at Welmu's base, he actually has a pylon on the... I thought an overcharge to kill an Overlord is... well, yeah, might as well. It keeps TLO in the dark, which, can have its added benefits here. Thinking that TLO could be attacked at any point. But we are going to see a third base. With the pylon inside the main base that's overlooking the third base of Welmu, it's a clear suggestion that he can actually build a cannon on the low ground and warp in if need be to support this third. TLO's got great information though. Zergling's on the third, so he knows that he can drone happily at this point. And I would be expecting him just to drone a massive amount at this position.
And after seeing that third, he cancelled the Roach Warren, realizing nothing was going to hit him. So he's just playing very, very greedy here with the layer morphing in now with the extra 100 gas he got after speed gas. And then from there, we could happily see him just say, right, okay, I don't need my Roach Warren. I'm just going to go straight to my Hydralisk Den and then really power it out.
So if you think about Welmu using the Photon Overcharge just now, was that worth it? To deny scouting also does supply cap TLO for a second or two. But if we're going to see a massive attack from TLO using this forward hatchery as a waypoint towards the base of the Protoss, and I'm expecting Hydralisk here with all 6 gases taken, he could go Spire, but probably Hydralisk here. And he's just going to go, but the Mothership Core is very low on energy, which could hurt him a little bit because he's only going to have really one Photon Overcharge and not back-to-back Photon Overcharges.
And it looks really aggressive because there's only one evolution chamber at the moment in order to be able to aid this. So not that much upgrade focus onto it means that, you know, why would you kind of go away from that if you were going to play out this out super long? He's adding on 7 Overlords, he's getting Carapace, he's getting movement speed for these Hydralisks as well.
Yeah, the only thing he hasn't done is creep spread out from his third base yet. And you could say that would help him.
Yeah,
he's adding on the Spire. So if we think about TLO's games, this is exactly pretty much how he played earlier today. The Spire's hidden. Didn't realize it was hidden.
No, nor did I. I didn't see it in the top corner.
It's up to the top right here. So we should be expecting like a Hydralisk Mutalist play. So with the Hydralisk that he's building, he probably won't commit too heavily to them, I wouldn't imagine. Maybe just, well, it depends on how aggressive Welmu is, I guess, because if he's aggressive, he kind of needs to build Hydralisks.
Yeah, it's tricky. He's adding on that 4th base, and if he gets the 7th and 8th gas guys are up there, he's going to have a lot of gas income to fuel that Spire.
Yeah, he's got to add on a lot more Hydralisks now. Forget about the Spire for the time being. He needs to defend. There's an attack coming.
When there's no creep there down this path anyway to really help out the defense at all. He's going to try and choke some of these Hydralisks up in the mineral line, which is good, but forces the recall out.
And it's a cancelled pylon. That's it. But this kind of messes up TLO's plan a little bit. So he may just go into a Ling Hydra attack now if he had plans to maybe build a few Hydras straight into Mulus or something. Probably just going to be a Ling Hydra attack. The robotics play is crucial here, and Welmu needs to buy time. So the Mothership Core has really low energy because he's used the Photon Overcharge earlier and now a Time Warp just here. This could be difficult to hold on to.
That was a game noise buzzer there, my friend. And I'm going to be making that noise if he actually breaches this location and gets up on towards where that robo facility is positioned, because that's a scary spot.
A nice wall. Shame there's no cannon there, but...
he's actually positioning himself in such a way to he has to do something. He's actually going to lose a few Hydralisks there. Not the most impressive movements there from TLO, but...
The Mutalisks are on the way. The German players making the Mutalisks.
He has to be careful.
Mutalisks are okay, but they can also hurt you as well. Imagine with a good Photon Overcharge straight on the natural and Stalker's warped in. What happens if the Mutalisks don't do the damage necessary? Can always be scary, so it will be dependent on the results here, what the Mutalisks get. They're going to be very lately scouted, which is always nice.
There's a Hallucinated Phoenix moving out here, though, as well, which could eventually spot them. Let's keep an eye on
that would be very
goes.
nice if he does.
Still watching.
TLO moves his Mulus. They were about to be scouted, but he moved them out of the way.
That's
nice
good.
play.
And especially now that the Spire is still away, he's not going to show any Mutalisks.
The Mulus can actually come and kill the Colossus. With the Ling and Hydra together? Where is he going to go? Where are the
He's
Mutalisks?
pulling back for a second.
Okay, he's going to the natural. He's pulling the army out, pulling the army to the right, and then going in with the Mulus on the left.
That's very, very annoying. Wait, he doesn't even have the Mothership
He may need to
Core.
recall here. Yeah.
So he does have the Mothership Core with it. I was scared for a second, but now the Lings and Hydralisks, unfortunately, they take a few deaths, but a lot of probes could end up dying and runs straight away from this natural.
And a recall to the natural.
But even with that recall, you know, the Mutalist is still so mobile that they're going to get a lot of kills in the main.
Yeah, and Ling Hydra going to the third.
Oh, wow. This is a very, very nice play here by TLO. And how much will he actually get done? The wall is sufficient enough to buy him a little bit of time, but all the Stalkers need to blink down. But even if they do, they jump into the jaws of Lings and Mutas, and they will end up dying quite quickly.
Ooh, Colossus exposed.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good. If let's get focused down, the blink forwards, he kills off one of the Colossi, but now Blink's on cooldown. He can't blink back up into the main. TLO is controlling space so well in this game.
Yeah, this was just completely unexpected.
Bye-bye Nexus. Bye-bye a lot of pros. Bye-bye Robo Bay, and he follows this up with Ling Hydra production. He already killed off one Colossus, so how are you supposed to deal with Ling Hydra with only one Colossus?
Well, Welmu's going to be on the defensive foot because he needs to re-establish the third base, but he just walked in 3 DTs who should be moving across the map here. But unfortunately, they're not. What are you doing? Guys, you can't shoot Mutalisks.
They're like jumping in a button, trying to scythe them. I don't think that's going to work, guys.
Where are they?
They morph into an Archon underneath the Mutalisks.
What are you doing? What are you doing, Dark Templar?
Go home, man. Go home.
You guys.
All right, that's a lot of units TLO has right now.
Imagine if they were to get to the 4th base of TLO and snipe that off.
It would die. There's really nothing there.
It's interesting that they're with the army. It's completely pointless.
I guess they're going to kill Lings really quickly. Wait, does he have... okay, he's going to have obviously with the army. It's just a non-thought here at all.
Right, TLO's coming in again.
He's going to get the cancellation. There's really not a whole lot you can do about that. The Mutalisks are just too mobile. And he's actually swinging in with the entire army here to pin all of this in, but he doesn't really need to.
Yeah, Welmu's lost his third. He's lost a third of his income. Bam.
Bam, man. Bam. This is bad. This is totally bad. There's 80 drones against 49 probes. He's losing a few Mutalisks, but that's really it. There's 4 Vipers on the way.
Yeah.
He needs 1.
Yeah, if he can get especially if he can get up to Ultras and everything at this point, and even Infestors. So TLO's done harassing, and now he's ready for a full-on attack. Because Mutalisks and Hydralisks aren't exactly the units for a full-on attack against the Protoss army that we have in this game, but the Infestors, Vipers, and Ultralisks are.
Yeah, lock them down, get that blinding cloud on them as well. It all works in tandem.
He's buying
greatly.
himself time right now with the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks are no longer a part of this game. He's just like, yeah, chase me, but buy me some more time.
Yeah, he could be like that.
Chase me.
This sounds so sexy, so seductive.
Das ist erotisch.
Brilliant.
So now the Ultralisk Infestors are out, or at least the Infestors are out and the Ultras in a second here. You'll have the combination move, the combo attack is, some fighting game players may say, will be the landing of the fungal growth, then the blinding cloud on top, and then the Ultralisk just hugging, caressing, destroying everything.
That escalated quickly, man.
Yes.
that was from one extreme to another. Those Ultralisks. But you're right. They're entirely right. It's going to be very, very difficult here for Welmu to hold on.
Yeah, and if Welmu doesn't come into the jaws of this, then TLO takes the jaws to him. Just come across the other side of the map here and take the fight. This is a weak army, and if the combo is pulled off efficiently here by TLO, it'll be a very easy fight for him.
He's looking good so far. He really is. Fungals, blinding clouds,
Yeah.
Ultralisks. Every single piece of this puzzle is fitting together for TLO.
Let's hope he pulls off this attack. It's always nice to see this attack perfectly executed here from TLO. Let's see if he can do it.
And a lot of Lings actually lead there. There's the blinding clouds. Where are the Fungals to couple that up? And the Ultralisk leading the charge as well. And there's no transfuses or anything like that to keep those alive, but they're really not taking much damage because the blinding clouds are doing a sufficient enough a job to really deny them from dying. 2 Ultralisks at the back. This is as good as it could have gone for Welmu, but it's still not going to work.
It's not quite the artwork we expected to see from TLO, but I think it's going to be good enough here. Even if he loses every single Hydralisk, trading off at this point versus a weakened Protoss economy is fine to do. With 7 Ultralisks and 40 additional Zerglings here against only Blink Stalkers, I think that's a nice position to be in.
Yeah, as I said, the best way it could have gone for Welmu, but even then, difficult.
Do you want to? The Dark Templar was still in that army, by the way. There's one in the army.
Oh yeah.
And I imagine the other 2 died in that fight.
Just randomly to Ultralisk cleave?
Yeah.
Wait, was there overseers during that? I guess there must have been. Yeah, there must have been.
Maybe the Fungals could have detected them as well.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, the Dark Templar is now off to do his job. As he's going to look for some bases where he can. And a lone Ultralisk gets hunted down. Big game hunter style. Bye-bye.
Well, Welmu's holding on. That's what you've got to do in this position. It's not like you can go and attack out. You can use harassment units such as the Warp Prism, Dark Templar, and Zealots, but you've got to play this very slowly. Imagine a mech player who's been crippled and has to sit down and rebuild and then maxed out army and then go. That's pretty much in the position that Welmu is in. And
It's like, finish spines, no! My poor Spore. But
the longer the game goes on and the higher supply count that Welmu has, the more of a chance he therefore has, because there's going to be Ultralisks. I mean, so there's going to be Immortals and Archons and so on and so on. But the problem is the upgrades for TLO are fantastic.
yeah.
Absolutely wonderful here. With 2-2 already done and 3-3 on the way, it's great. And then a couple of Infestors, Ling Ultra Infestor is great against this in high numbers.
And he catches the Dark Templar as well, so even more Wunderbar as he's... I mean, all TLO's doing is now he was checking bases up to the top right-hand corner. He's like, why are you still in my game? This is my game. Go away. But he's just going for that power punch now. This is a absolute death blow to Welmu.
And it all came down to the Mutalist switch. I mean, if you were to analyze this game and look at the breakup of where the two players divided was the Mutalist play, which was not spotted. And then all of a sudden, Welmu lost a lot of probes, lost his third, and TLO's been riding the highway ever since.
I'm trying to throw it down a pylon wall so he can greet those Ultralisks, but even with that, he could just walk up here and situate himself between the third.
Go!
Okay. And he's actually just going to funnel on through anyway. Blinding Clouds once again. All the Archons caught. Oh, they want to retreat, but they can't.
Yeah, a great position for Welmu to fight in that little nook.
Yeah, all this is melee, so technically it's an alright spot for him, despite the Blinding Clouds. A little bit of a fungal there on the left-hand side as the Ultralisks go to work once again. There's actually no Vipers left over there, so Blinding Clouds...
Look at the supply count. This is some really good fighting here from Welmu.
Yeah.
Some really good fighting.
If you're going to play exclusively melee units for the most part, then you have to make sure you're engaging in a big open area.
Yeah, some good chunks of the Protoss army picked off there.
At the same time, though, so many Lings and Ultras still in production.
Oh, a fungal, that hurts.
Ouch. Catching so much of that. The Ultralisks eventually will die to this, but again, the trades...
off again.
Yeah.
Versus Welmu's lost his main base now in terms of the actual minerals there. So he's only mining from just a little bit of resources at this point.
And all the Lings flood on forwards as well. That one Ultralisk left, the last of his kind here at the front.
Just a little bit overrun with the economy. If TLO, for example, was on 4 bases or had one sniped and then ran out of steam, then this could have easily changed around. But he's got 5 bases. He's actually very healthy in his economy.
Yeah, Ultralisk breeding program continues. A few more come and enter the fray as Zergling's now going to work in the mineral line. There you go. GG. Game number 1 goes to TLO. Foregone conclusion throughout the later stages of that. But just solidifying the win is very, very important at these desperation situations where you're in the loser game.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things is that TLO probably reminds himself now that he can actually win a game of StarCraft, because he lost 2 games in a row versus Stardust and then comes into this against Welmu. Now he's actually got a win on the table, so he can be like, all right, yeah, that's how I play. That's how I play, and can continue that form. But Welmu now in a position where, you know, there's a lot of hype around Welmu, especially with the recent performances in the ATC qualifier, where he performed so well against MC's Bounty Hunters. But right now, he's facing elimination in the round of 16.
He is, and also you've got to think, back to what...
Das Wasser so good.
Wait, it wasn't bubbly. Did you see that? It wasn't the bubbly one.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's very strange for a German.
I've got bubble water. I've actually grown very used to it. I love bubble water.
I'm still in the still water camp. Sorry, man. Sorry.
It's nice.
What was I saying? I can't remember.
I know, I threw you off with my German.
Oh, yes, I remember. Okay, so Welmu is now in a spot where he is 1 game away from losing. So that's an interesting dot. He's 1 game away from losing. Does he... Because he said to us he's got something planned. Like, does he try for it in this last 1 game? I don't think he does.
He has to pull something out now. If he doesn't show it now, when is he going to show it? There is that awesome sign, TLO-nage. And so far, so true. But let's see if he can complete this, though. He's got to obviously win this series to be able to go on to fight against Baby Knight and have his chances alive here. Oh, Jack G, hello.
Oh, the lovers. Look, it's Jack G and Daishi.
Jack G and Daishi sitting in a tree.
If you're unfamiliar with why we're talking about that, just head over to Reddit and you'll find out exactly why.
Oh, Kissing.
How adorable.
Oh, so
Herons frolicking together.
cutie pies.
All right. It's down to business, Sean. It's down to business. We're loading into game at number 2 now here for Heavy Rain. TLO currently 1 game up. Welmu facing elimination. And he's going to need hugs and kisses, man. If he goes out, he needs all the comfort he can get.
Yeah, he was quite confident coming into today's group too, especially because he's got a lot of momentum behind him, and everybody in this group was looking at Welmu as a player to go through.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Baby Knight. I'm like, how's your PvP doing? He's like, yeah, it's okay, but my PV Welmu sucks. And I'm like,
Oh.
well, yeah. And yeah, Welmu is a really talented guy, but today doesn't quite seem to be his day. He's without a win on the board himself yet. He's 0-3 today with 0-2 versus Baby Knight earlier on, if you missed that, the first game of the evening. And lost the first game here against TLO as well.
All right. So, do you think Welmu can do it? Do you think he can pull it back?
Heavy Rain. Yeah, absolutely. Heavy Rain is the map to pull it back on.
And the thing is that if you're a TLO shoes here, do you know what I would do? I would do exactly what Starbuck did against Welmu, but I don't think TLO will do it. Do you remember back in the round of 32? That was a sad match for Welmu. He got crushed by those Swarm hosts in the end.
Yeah, I don't think he'll use Swarm hosts.
No.
I mean, it's TLO. He refuses to use it. He did say a few days back when we were talking that he was considering to use Swarm hosts at least in one game to maybe throw his opponent off a little bit. But then, do you know what my counter argument was? It was very logical, actually. I said there's no really point to try to throw them off because they're more experienced playing against it than you are playing it in the first place.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it just doesn't make any sense. What are you really throwing them off? They see Swarm hosts and they're going to be like, oh, okay, I'll play versus Swarm hosts, and they continue on. So maybe he listened to words of advice from me. Do you know, I posted that picture today on Twitter of TLO almost crying with the red face.
No, I
Did you
didn't
see that? I'll show you it.
Okay.
It was really, it was meant to be an emotional picture, but it is very funny.
Oh, it's the one where he's like, yeah, oh, I remember that. But that's from season 1, right?
I think that's from season 1,
Yeah.
where we had the players' posters behind them instead of their races.
Yeah,
And
around a
TLO
bit.
had one. A few guys that didn't know, he had a poster where he was shh with his one finger up. And there's a perfect picture that I tweeted today with TLO down with his head in his hands, and then right behind him is himself saying shh.
No tears, only silence.
No tears.
Oh, poor guy.
One of the PCs dropped while we were loading into the game, so this is the delay here.
Yeah.
But we, I don't think the whole game gets destroyed. I think just the takes longer to load.
Yeah. Oh, and it's our admin as always. All right. Okay. So now let's get into the game. If you would like to blame anyone, please blame Graham on Twitter. I can't remember his Twitter, but there you go anyway.
Welmu?
No, for our admin.
Oh, all right. I don't know that.
Messioso, that's how, I can't remember how to spell it. Anyway, spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, let's get right on into this as we have our blue Protoss representing Neurosoft. It's Welmu. Hey, it's raining on Heavy Rain.
Funny that.
Yeah, funny that. And up to the top left-hand corner, we have our red Zerg representing Team Liquid. It's TLO.
AKA Wunderwunsch.
Yeah,
They love it.
Wunderwunsch. TLO.
Oh, that's an awesome nickname. I think that was at Seat Story Cup that came out.
The Wunderwunsch. Who gave it? Was it you?
The Muslim, I
Oh,
think.
really?
Yeah.
You know, the Muslim having been here for a long time before he moved out to America, he probably called him that for years.
Probably. I think he may have been called him before, but it came out the other week. Gateway opening again here from Welmu. I think TLO will probably go back to spawning pool here. I say that, and he does it, but I thought he wasn't going to. Yeah, just, get away with that advantage. And this one is for you in control. That cheeky advantage that he had in the first game, and then just be happy with it and don't be too greedy. Don't try it again. Because if he tried it again, imagine if there was a cannon rush and the series is 1-1. You're like, why did I do that? So he's just gone spawning pool, which is fine.
Good stuff. Yeah, that Overlord's going to get over there and have a look around and see that eventually it will be the gateway opener, whilst TLO is going to claim himself his natural. And from here on out, I'm curious to see how TLO is going to play it. I wouldn't be surprised if he played it in a similar way to how he did against Stardust on this map.
Just more assertive.
Yeah, exactly. Just more assertive. Down, if you do set up that concave to push on the third, it's really scary to hold off as a Protoss player. You need a lot of force fields across that big, wide open spot.
Yeah.
But I think Welmu will be trying to keep an eye on his opponent's army movement with an observer, similar to how we saw Stardust doing, because it's so important against that kind of push.
Welmu, as you said, and Red Eye mentioned as well, has been saving a strategy, or at least a couple, for TLO today. I don't know why TLO specifically. Maybe he thought that TLO could go through Stardust and they would meet in the winners match. And he said he really wanted to play against TLO today. So I hope that, you know, that last game wasn't what his plan was. We didn't really get to see it properly if it was. But if there's any time to pull out a special, super wonderful build that's going to win you the game, then now is the time. There isn't another time. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do here. He's grabbed his Nexus and then second gas, which is very standard. Mothership core right behind, or right before the Nexus there, sorry. And what is he going to do?
4 Zerglings rapidly approaching to actually have a look around and put on some pressure.
Yeah, the Mothership core will push these back.
Yeah.
Well, at least if he tries to run past, then he'll kill them, but should just run back.
At least he gets confirmation of the natural. But other than that, not a whole lot. Just positioning his Overlords ready to dive in later on and see what's going on.
Yeah, so 1 gateway and sentry. Forge down, just like in the previous game. So far, so similar.
It's actually in a position that he's going to try and hide it away from his opponent. Because that's not normally the direction that you send an Overlord in. You send it around the Nexus even. And then, so we could see Upgrade come out very quickly from this.
Yeah, so we want to be careful if Welmu tries to sneak out a probe or something down the right-hand side flank. That's going to be a weak point and a blind spot of TLO, which he does have an Overlord for, actually, outside his third base, which is smart to have there. Ooh, Zergling actually creeps by.
He might actually pull probes to kill that, but he's going to just use the Mothership core. Oh, he had a sentry on the ramp anyway, so he would have blocked to getting up there.
Does he see the Forge? Yes.
Wow.
I think he was looking to see if there was a robo facility, because that's the perfect place to put it. Excuse me, usually, but he sees the Forge.
But now TLO has to be like, why have you put that Forge there, of all places?
Definitely the back of his mind.
Yeah.
But so far, drone. He may throw a safety roach warren down soon, but so far this looks like the same build, and is the same build, or looks like, should I say, for TLO, the same build that we had in the previous game, which was an expansion play. So, of course, if it's an expansion play, he's going to be wanting to drone. He's not ready. If there was an attack to come, not finished with droning yet. He needs to be much higher than this currently. Evolution Chamber first. And he doesn't really do that very often here.
Yeah.
Layer thrown down. Twilight Council incoming.
You're very right about that. Normally we see the big committal to units through the layer.
Yeah, unless he's just not expecting an attack at all and expecting the third base to be taken, so wants to upgrade a little bit faster. So I guess it makes sense in that regard. But he's right on top of the third base, expecting it to be there, and it is there. But is this a fake out?
This is looking very similar to what we saw from Stardust of the +2 blink.
But there is a probe that, I mean, a Zergling that goes in. He's like, all right, wait, there's the Twilight Council. That's pretty early Twilight Council. Okay, cool. Kind of seems same again. Looking around for extra pylons or gateways, it's still only 3 gateways. So there's nothing that TLO should be scared of. Should be still droning at this point.
The fact that he keeps getting in with these Zerglings and spotting things is actually a hindrance. This normally doesn't happen. This is normally supposed to be blocked off by Welmu. He's normally supposed to force TLO to sack Overlords to get this information.
And TLO will probably make another round of drones here when, there's more drones coming. Because there's no reason, there's only 3 gateways. What are you scared of at this moment? Not a lot, or shouldn't be. Welmu's probe count 44, 45th one being built. More gateways coming in, so starting to climb up now. That would go up to 7, so he's in a very similar position to how Stardust was, if you remember. And TLO is starting to build units now. Maybe anticipating a small little push out. That's a 5th gateway, so that's 8 gateways. No +2. Okay, +2 now. No probes, though. Oh, no, he is still building probes, sorry. I was like, no probes, yes probes, no probes, yes probes.
Sorry, Sean, this isn't going your way today.
No.
But this is, it's still, I mean, this is just the play out straight from Welmu.
Infestation pit.
Ooh, hello.
Swarm host?
Dude, if he does this, I said at the beginning, this is the best way for him to really play it out against what we could see from Welmu.
Could still be infestors.
Could be.
Oh.
Oh. TLO.
That wasn't spotted by Welmu either, so It's not like it was a mind game. He just chose not to. So
Yeah.
he was like, yeah, nah, screw it. All right, so a lot of units coming out here from TLO, and he's going to start to put a bit of pressure on here. There's quite a few sentries and force fields. Not too many stalkers, only 3 right now. They will have blink shortly. And Welmu's about to see the army approaching. He'll see the rocks being destroyed here, sees the army. And there's a lot of units coming from TLO. Oh, that's me. I'm really, really sorry.
Oh.
I had my finger on the button. I didn't mean to do that at all. I'm sorry.
At least you admitted it.
I admitted it. I'm a man.
That's the first stage.
Ooh, good force fields.
Yeah, very nice. Catches a few of these roaches.
Doesn't want to lose sentries? Pulls it back, Get down on that guy!
Oh, look at him. Did you see the panic in that sentry's face?
He was scared. He didn't want to die. He died.
Poor little guy.
Look how many units TLO's building. He is taking a lesson from his previous game against Stardust and not messing around today.
Oh, if he gets those pylons, that's 4 gateways that are under power for the reinforcements.
Mectosis!
Nom 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 nom.
I have to, I'm sorry.
Well, there's another pylon in the end to hit that one down, but he's catching sentries. Every sentry that goes down is a bad time.
Not the sentries!
Not the sentries.
No, they're so expensive. That's like 1,000 gas he's probably lost right now. And TLO's all over this. Welmu's just dropping his supply. He's lost 3 out of 8 of his gateways, so he's only got 5 right now.
That's like it.
And TLO is just, look at the units, just units, more roaches, more links.
We need those pylons to get up and quick.
Oh, at least +2 and blink is done now. It does help, but the photon overcharge is down.
The roaches continue on, and they're going to get a lot of these stalkers in the process.
Nice micro from Welmu.
Yeah, very strong. Keeps some of those alive.
And an Immortal being made and +3 attack. TLO may want to put the brakes on. If he continues on here and Welmu starts to get the sentry count back up, which I guess is kind of hard considering he's got no gas.
Yeah. It's so funny how this is playing down. We were like, well, okay, it's good. If it's a similar game, if what we see from Welmu is similar to Baby Knight, he has to be more assertive, and TLO is being more assertive.
He's attacking again. So Welmu just needs to hold on. He's going to add on a cannon. He's 30 energy away from a photon overcharge. TLO's going to go before that can happen here. TLO is about to launch another large assault here. And I don't think Welmu can hold. This is so few units.
Lynx push away that Immortal on the right-hand side. Very good so that those roaches can get right on top of these stalkers and start working at them. But at the same time, the Lynx have been cleaned up by some of the Zealots, and the supply counts are evening up slightly. He doesn't want that Immortal to be working away at those roaches, but it is.
He's holding on. And he even blinks forward to pick off a straggler there. And Welmu is doing it. He just needs to keep holding on. He's got a good economy now. 65 drones, lots of gateways. TLO's time is up. He's adding on 4 drones. Welmu survived the storm.
Wow, that was impressive.
He's got 2 Immortals, +3 attack on the way, and there is absolutely an opportunity to counterattack because TLO is droning right now, not adding on more units, while Welmu is and should be. If he adds on a couple more sentries, a couple more zealots, and goes for an attack around +3, you'd be looking good.
That would be. He feels a little bit apprehensive, I would imagine, about it, though, because he doesn't have full information as to what's going on his opponent's side of the map. He doesn't have observers over there to really spot it. He only has 1 with the army. So maybe that makes Welmu a little bit more defensively minded during all of this, but...
He's still worried. He used that photon overcharge. He didn't really want to have to do that, because that's not a time warp now, or at least not a second one by the time he moves out. A Spider coming in from TLO, not going to be too useful in this game, unfortunately. I guess that's just in case there were Colossus, but it is Stalker Immortal. Very effective against what we have from TLO here. Despite having a good economy himself now, TLO is lacking in upgrades and just lacking in sheer numbers right now. The army supply is similar. It needs to be heavily in favor of TLO in this. A direct engagement would go in favor of Welmu.
It would. His army's looking good. It's looking very strong with those Immortals as the backbone. And just completing this wall off to make sure that these Lynx can't get in again is nice. But the roaches are quite hard for him to access. TLO's trying to push on both fronts, but it's not going to be successful. Welmu is holding on.
And 12 Mutalisks. Oh. Is he going to have to build mass spine crawlers and a base trade? How are Mulisk going to help against so many Blink Stalkers with +3?
That is a lot. He has 33 of them. 33 on the field that are just chasing down roaches wherever they want to. They don't care about the blink forward. They're just going to go for it. And he has had a huge other army on the other side of the map as well.
Fantastic composure from Welmu. Absolutely incredible control to be able to hold off against the onslaught from TLO. But now he's reaping the rewards. Not too sure how Mutalisk will help in this sense. Maybe if he can keep Welmu back defending while he increases the count of Lings and Mutalisks here.
Like, I guess if he goes for a direct engagement with them, he tries to bring down the Immortals first.
Maybe Welmu can't, hit with his +3 with the big outer stat because he's going to have to keep defending for now.
He's going to push onto this third base once again. That one of those Immortals very, very far forwards. And actually, this army split up here for Welmu is not good. The Blink Stalkers are way out of position to complement the Immortals. He needs to help those out right now. The Blink forwards on this right-hand side to try and do a bit of damage. Time Warp to slow down the death of the Immortals. And he saved one of them with War Prism. He will kill off push away the majority of this army.
But he didn't touch the economy, really. And Welmu can build from his 10 gateways another 10 Stalkers in a moment.
That was as good as TLO was going to get an engagement, I feel, and even then it didn't go well, because of just the firepower.
Yeah.
He killed off the Immortals, sure, which, you know, with these Mutalisks, he's going to keep dancing on, I guess.
Well, where does Welmu go? Does he come back and defend, warp into defend? He's still attacking, and I think he has a strong enough army to attack and defend.
Yeah, he could do. These Stalkers come back with +3 weapons. Mutalisks are going to die off very, very quickly. But
yeah, look at the other side of the map. Can these Lings and Roaches with no upgrades fight this?
Not really. Not really. Even the good blink control here from him and defending against these Mutalisks at home is looking good here for Welmu in game number 2, trying to tie up this series, trying to keep his hopes alive. Army supplies dead even, but the quality of the army is so good.
There are 27 Mutalisks. That's quite a lot.
It is. If he's able to trade away a lot of the Stalkers.
The reinforcements are trying to come for Welmu. They're a little bit far behind.
Okay, how well is this going to work out? If he controls these Blink Stalkers well enough, I think he'll just overwhelm eventually. There's the reinforcements now. He buys enough time. He's trying to warp in more Stalkers at the back of all of this. Mutalisks actually still surviving. There's 14 of them.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he can warp in another round in a second. TLO realizes that, tries to get rid of the roll prison, but doesn't get rid of it. And now the reinforcements are there. Yeah, this is falling out of TLO's hand now.
Yeah, Blink Stalkers doing what they do best, which is stay alive. Even with the Guardian Shield, making it all the harder to kill those off. GG. Game number 2 goes to Welmu.
A good game from Welmu.
Yeah.
And now he gets a game under his belt today. That was nice.
I'm glad we're going to a third game, gotta say. It would be sad to watch one of these guys go out 2-0 at the very end. Welmu trying to keep himself alive in this tournament. All right.
So, Alterzim Stronghold.
Yay! I'm excited. Okay, this is good.
The biggest map in the map pool is the final destination for these two players.
And similar to Final Destination, one will die.
One will die.
Wait, doesn't everyone die in Final Destination? I don't know. I really never saw the films, actually.
I think I watched the first couple.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the other ones because there was like 7 or something.
There was.
Like maybe 5.
I remember seeing clips of like the deaths on YouTube because I was like, well, that's what the film's about. I guess I'll just watch those bits and then I'll know the film.
Pretty much. That's what it was.
Yeah, so I'm a weird person. I don't know what to tell you.
I watched Final Destination in 5 minutes on YouTube. I watched 5 deaths, 1 minute each.
It's pretty much, I assume. What else is going to happen? All right. Is there a love story in these things?
I can't remember. It's a long time ago I watched these. I don't think so. Not really.
Because I know Hollywood tries to do that.
I think there was, actually. No, there was. I think there was.
Really?
There was like a guy trying to save a girl who's next.
That's terrible.
On the list or something.
There's always... They try and shoehorn love stories into every single film now. It's really sad. It needs to be relatable.
Come on, Kalaris, you're a lovey person.
Oh God, don't start.
I know you're a lovey person. You love a cuddle, a hot chocolate, and Lion King.
Lion King? I mean, yeah, I'm not going to deny I do like cuddles and hot chocolate. Marshmallows too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you being that guy. Yeah, I bet you're a Bridget Jones kind of guy too.
Wait, whoa. Slow down a minute. Let's not go that far.
I've got my hot chocolate, darling. Now let's put the film on. What film are we watching tonight, Kalaris?
Dude, for me it's anime.
Bridget Jones's Diary.
No. I'm all about the anime, man. I'm all about the anime. I love it. It's great.
What's your favorite?
Full Metal Alchemist, man. Full Metal Alchemist.
I don't watch too much anime. Maybe I'll start. Maybe you can give me a couple of ones to watch.
I have tons of suggestions for you.
Okay.
So we can go there. It's all good.
Well, Toast has told me to watch Attack on Titan.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, you still haven't watched it? I'm sure I've suggested that to you as well.
Yeah, I never got around to it.
Todd even watched it, and he even enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And he's not really watched that much anime, so it starts fast and then slows down a little bit at the end. But and eventually it'll come out again. It's a new season. So.
TLO has told me to read books too, which I haven't done. Maybe I'll listen to him too. Maybe I'll actually listen to people and do some other things than play StarCraft all day.
Reading's good. Reading is good. Although I only read textbooks nowadays. I don't read too much like fiction or non-fiction. So textbooks for me. Because I'm a nerd. I'm a total nerd.
Look at that focus from TLO. He's...
Has to be focused. Final game. Final chance.
Welmu, probably bouncing a couple of ideas in that noggin of his.
Is this his crazy map?
Yeah, this is Alterzim Stronghold, as mentioned, the largest map in the pool. I think one of the best strategies for TLO is, as mentioned, like Zergling Ultralisk. Wonder what Welmu's going to do. He can do anything here. This is definitely capable of anything. Look at those fingers. So fast.
It's looking fast. As we now get into game number 3, Welmu and TLO.
TLO's smiling, Welmu's not. It's funny.
He's like, I take no prisoners. All right,
here we go.
Here we go. I thought it was in the game, but apparently not. All right, spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner here as our blue Protoss. Representing... Where is he going with that probe? Oh, okay, never mind. Representing NRS, it is Welmu. And I apologize to production for the worst intro of all time. As we have... Over to the left-hand side, our red Zerg. Representing Team Liquid, it is TLO. That's smart. I don't know what you said, guys, but I appreciate the words.
Unfortunately for TLO, he's going to get scouted first, which will put a bit of a hindrance to his build here, because you'd imagine that on a map this big, you'd be going hatchery first. But not anymore, you're not, because the probe's there already, which kind of sucks. Which can actually allow, I almost said Stardust, Welmu to block a hatchery first while going Nexus first himself, which is actually a nice opener for him, considering that he's had, I think in the 2 games, not the best of openers against what TLO's had, but this time could work out really well for him. He's going to see a spawn and pull first. Remember that TLO has no idea where he spawned either, so you can get away with Nexus first here, or a really, really late forge and then Nexus, but I'd like Nexus first here.
And then from there, like, with Welmu saying that he had something special planned, I can't imagine what it would be other than, like, some mass Stargate play. I just can't think what Welmu could do other than something like that. And, I mean, it could work to this map if something like that were to come along, but look at this. TLO's going to take space on the outside first, and I do like this choice, because you can get your creep spread going so aggressively on this map if you take that base first, as opposed to the one on the pocket.
Absolutely. As soon as TLO sees the top left and sees there's no Protoss there, he'll probably just assume that his opponent's bottom right. It's almost impossible for a Protoss to scout you cross position this fast. It's in close positions, just depends on which one. Perfect opener from Welmu. Absolutely perfect here. Nexus Gateway, Assimilator, straight next, 2 Assimilators. It's the greediest opening he could get, really, apart from like something crazy like 3 Nexus, which is death.
That's truly crazy.
But yeah, this is really, really good for Welmu, especially against the spawn and pull first here, which is actually forced because of that probe.
Yep. And from here, we're going to find out what Welmu wants to do. Third hatchery is going to go down for TLO. And he is sending that link down to the bottom right, so he'll eventually spot him. And he's also trailing this probe, so that's important. You don't want this probe doing anything super crazy.
I remember in these positions too, TLO has only 1 overload to scout with, which is the one down south here. If that is kept away from going in the inside, if Welmu hides stuff towards the back of his base here, it's going to be almost impossible for TLO to scout. This one, Zergling, is fine, and I mean, there's nothing that Welmu can do about it anyway, and he's not looking to get anything down now, so it's fine, as long as he doesn't lose a probe or something. And then he can clear it out with the mothership core shortly, and then he can choose what he wants to do.
Yeah, and let me remind people out there, if you were not with us for the round of 32, how we saw TLO play out this map against Grubby in exactly the same spawning positions. Very aggressive creep spread through the middle of the map, trying to pressure a third base relentlessly to bring it down. That's something that's still in TLO's repertoire, and we could see here, but it's early days yet as to what he wants to do.
TLO, at least with the Zergling inside here, is looking and can see where pylons are to where potential structures can be, which is nice for the heads up, but still I think it's going to be very difficult for him to see. 2 sentries in a row here from Welmu, which are going to start to build up energy very, very fast. Obviously can be a fast third still, but options are available. Robo throwing down, and TLO scouting with the Zergling. Really fast here. That's a big pickup from that initial Zergling that got in, which, as mentioned, one of the weaknesses of TLO being in these positions is he's not really meant to scout very easily.
This is really weird. Like, This is very strange, considering that Zergling was alive.
It could be a warp prism.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be a warp prism for a bit of harassment while expanding, maybe. I'm not too sure. Not sure at all that Welmu can choose from. But he opens his... he is weak versus Mutalisk play by going for Robo instead of Stargate, or at least +1 attack and eventually Stalkers here with +2. But he opens his tech choice up to a Warp Prism. Immortals can be made fast. He can go to Colossus pretty early as well for a potential big timing in attack. TLO, though, is chosen through seeing this just to go straight for Leia.
An Immortal gets started very quickly here by Welmu. So this is very interesting. Extra gateway behind the mineral line at the natural. I mean, with this pylon, it looks as if he wants to secure himself a third base. He's going to send this warp. This is actually a clever little
He shows it to the Overlord too. Like,
and he's like, oh, what was that?
Hey, that's my warp prism. Come build units, chase this. When he's only adding on Immortals and extra gateways at this moment. There's no Forge, remember, so no upgrades. It's just fast Immortals. So we are going to most likely see just an Immortal push come out from Welmu. Quite fast indeed. TLO needs to prepare himself for this.
Yeah, he's keeping good eyes on that third base as well with that Ling.
Yeah, more gateways coming in, Claris. There's the Spire. An interesting choice here. Going to try and go Mutalisks against this. Definitely can work considering it's like Sentry, Zealot, Immortal mostly. But he will be looking to add in Stalkers to this. No, there will be Stalkers in this.
So many Lings in production right now. So many.
And I think TLO knows what's going on. Is he going to be able to defend against this? This is going to be a big attack coming out here. 3 Immortals and then a Warp Prism shall follow this.
So many Lings in production right now. I mean, these Lings, they serve a dual purpose. If he was anticipating his opponent trying to take a third, he could have pressured it with all of these. But then from there on out, even if he doesn't know fully that there was a push coming, they're still there and available to him to deny it.
He knows his push is coming. TLO is in gas in all 6, but he's actually got 1 drone missing on the third base, on the right extractor there, just 1 missing. So not the highest income, but no! He's going to get the sentries if he's not careful.
Good force field's actually really good to seal all of that off, but it wasted so much energy where he doesn't want to be at the front.
Look how many force fields are gone already. That's all of them. A great catch there. There are, of course, more force fields available, but great catch, and it's only sentries.
And 8 Mutalisks are being added on already.
Welmu is just going for this. He's got no idea what his opponent's doing. He doesn't care. He's going for a Sentry, Zealot, Immortal. I thought he'd be warping his Stalkers with this. I'm wondering where they are. Where are they? Are they coming in the next round?
They certainly need to be there. I mean, Sentries with Guardian Shield aren't actually terrible against Mutalisks, unbelievably, but when you've got that many Lings to factor in as well, what do you do?
Please add Stalkers to this.
There's a pylon, there's a Warp Prism as well, so he could warp in technically right next to this army. He has the money.
There we go, but...
here we go. A lot of force fields already sealing out quite a lot of those Zerglings, but the Mutalisks are already going to work on that.
Pretty good attack there from Welmu, and he's got a lot of units here, and another round will be Stalkers, and the more Stalkers that get it on, the worse these Mutalisks are going to be.
Yeah, the Mutalisks, they just can't really do well in these straight-up engagements. More force fields seal off so many of these Zerglings.
He's getting the Warp Prism.
Oh, killing that off would be nice, but there's still a pylon behind all of that for the Stalkers to warp in right
look at
away.
The Mutalisks, they're so low.
Oh, they can't do anything. They are just not built for engaging straight up, and unfortunately for TLO, he's losing almost every single one of them.
This looks like it's game here, Kalaris. TLO is in a very, very bad position. Welmu's attack was too strong.
Yeah, this is just a death punch now. Welmu sitting pretty on Alterzim Stronghold, really making it work despite any adversity. Is just pushing straight for the victories on top of his opponent's main base. The drones come off the line as well, and TLO is all but vanquished here in the round of 16. GG. Welmu will advance on and keep his hopes alive and play against Baby Knight once again.
Once again, the rematch. The rematch where he can get some revenge. Unfortunately, TLO's, excuse me, Season 1 has come to a short end here. I don't think he was expecting to get booted out here. He will be back fighting, of course, in next season's Premier League, but he finishes this tournament in 9th to 12th position, being 3rd place in the group.
Yeah, that's unfortunate there for TLO, but now the thing is, with how PvP works going into this next series, we've seen a lot of PvPs happen where one series will occur, someone will lose 2-0. the next series that happened, even that same day, even in the same group, it's the complete reversal because you get a good glimpse into what your opponent's doing very, very early on in PvP, and that's almost everything. We saw the aggression from Baby Knight. Welmu's probably going to be going into it very, very anticipating that kind of style.
Yeah, especially that we've seen Baby Knight play 2 Protoss games today versus Protoss, so there's a lot of information for Welmu to pick up on and start to adapt and get ready to fight him in the final game of the evening. Sad to see TLO not join Snoot and Vortex as the trio in the European Zergs going through, but that does make sure that we have at least 3 Protoss players in the round of 8, with 2 definitely from today, 1 definitely from tomorrow. And we could see 4. But unfortunately for TLO, it's Welmu that goes to the final game.
All right, and we're going to hear from that man himself advancing on to the final game, Mr. Welmu.
Welmu, congratulations. Come back from the dead, really, because at 1-0 down, it looked like your WCS Season 1 was almost over. Let's talk about first the first map 1. Were you aware when he switched to muters and what was going on? Because I think at that point, it was a really crucial point for him. It pretty much won in the first map.
I was pretty sure that Mutalisk would be coming, but since I saw his previous games against Stardust, and he didn't go Mutas in those games, even though there were many cases he could go Mutas, I thought he might actually not go Mutas. So even though I knew that it would be high possibility, like it would be really good in this situation, I was still blocking it, the talk that they were coming. So they caught me by surprise, and then my control just fell apart. Like my multitask was really bad, and I just fell apart.
Okay, map 2. Talk us through map 2. Much better. Seemed to work perfectly for you in almost every way.
Yeah, like first game I actually had different plan, but last minute I decided to switch it up, which was a really bad choice in the end. So then I just decided I will stick with my plan in the rest of the games. And yeah, it went well. I did a small mistake at the start, like I added my gateways a little bit too late, so it was a little bit more difficult to hold his attack than normally. But in the end, I ended up holding and then, yeah, winning in the end.
Okay, map 3. Todd watched this with me, and he said, this is exactly the same build he used against Hyun in ATC, with exactly the same building placement. Were you not worried that maybe he'd seen that game?
Against Hyun. Actually, that game wasn't streamed. I sent Todd the replay of it. So it might have been a little bit difficult to, get that game. But yeah, I actually switched it up a little bit, since I took I usually do it with 3 gas, but I took 4 gas this time, and I also sent the hallucination warp prism to a little bit fake him out. So yeah, he went for Muta, so I think maybe he talks that I will go for 3 gas Immortal All-in instead. There is like no anti-air at all, but with 4 gas you have more anti-air, so yeah.
Cool, thank you. That's a nice explanation of that one. You had a little bit of trouble tonight, and I don't want to bring this up too much, but it's quite amusing as well, just because I know how thorough you are with everything. You said to the admins at the start, I've got no sound, and they restarted, and you were like, no, I've still got no sound. Why?
Well, I wasn't too focused on like what could be the mistake. Then I looked a little bit around and realized, oh, I don't have the headset on. I only have the, the soundproof thing, and I was like, oops, forgot those. Maybe this is not my day today.
Okay, one more game to go. It's against Baby Knight. You've already lost 2-0. How different is this next set of games going to be?
He played very well the first games against me. It's like his execution was really good and mine was a little bit off. But now I think I'm more prepared, and I think I will do much better this time.
Well, best of luck in the final game. It's Welmu. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going through to play Baby Knight in our final game of the night to find out who goes through to the quarterfinals. And this time, he's going to put his earbuds in. Let's find out from Todd exactly what he made of game number 3.
Thanks very much, Red Eye. Congratulations to Welmu again. I actually think Welmu and Nighthands will put us all out of a job as far as casting goes, but that's just me. So we're going to be taking a look at the third game here on Alterzim. And that game was funny to me because Welmu just all-killed the Team Bounty Hunters in ATC. And I believe he played Hyun on this map, and he did the exact same build, and it was the exact same position. So knowing that, I have to wonder, did TLO actually know that this is what happened? And did he know that this push was coming as it was going to come? Was he familiar with this situation? Surely he's been in situations before where he's had to face an immortal push when he was going Mutas. He opted to go for the Mutas even though, well, he knew there was a Ro, which can be a good counter at times. So first thing I notice here at this point, which is the pivotal point in this game, is that he's adding 6 drones. I'm not sure how necessary they are to this defense or to his economy. I don't think it was a good idea. He was already on 54. Usually when you go into Mutas like this and you know there is a big immortal push coming, what you will want to do is let your third base die, get a lot of spine crawlers up your main ramp, which on this map means actually they're going to be a little bit far away. But if he gets like 8 over here, he's going to be able to defend very well against any kind of army that comes up and gets shot while it's in this ramp. So I'm actually surprised that TLO didn't choose to go for this route, but maybe he thought he didn't have the time. I'm not sure. So now he's going to pressure with the links. I quite like that move. He forced a lot of energy being used here out of his opponent, so he can play it a little bit from here. And we see Welmu is about to hit his strong timing here. He has the War Prism on the way, he's added gateways, and from there he's built up his sentry counts, he meets some Zerglings, his force feels very well, he loses no one, I believe. And he's gonna start moving across the map, and as bad as this army is against Mutas, he can warp in a lot of Stalkers at the time. He's on quite a few gateways himself. And this is going to be a very scary situation for TLO in a second. And as I said, I really think that Spines was the better choice, but he opted to go into Ling Muta, which at the time I actually had my doubts, because you look at this army, you imagine 10 Mutas shooting them down, plus a bunch of Lings in support, and I really thought this was going to be okay for TLO. But Welmu, he gets proxy pylons, which was so smart. He didn't bank everything on his War Prism for reinforcements. So now he gets very close, and that's the time he starts warping in Stalkers. Great force fields are going to surround his army. A lot of energy is forced from being used here. So TLO starts losing Mutas, he has to pull back, and the energy is starting to get very low on the sentries. That means no more, or not many force fields, not many Guardian Shield, maybe just one, which is actually all you need. And at this point, this is the most important point. This is the moment that decides whether TLO is going to be able to hold. There is actually enough force fields to surround most of the army. The Lings are not attacking, the Mutas get in there, but they get targeted, you see? They start dying. He snipes the War Prism, which he had to, but there is a pylon behind this. This was the saving grace. Without this pylon, I actually think he has a very, very good chance to hold. But now Stalkers are fighting Mutas. He's losing everything. He starts being behind on supply. And those 16 Zerglings and 3 Mutas behind it, they're not going to change anything about this. So TLO chose the Zergling Muta approach in this last game to hold an immortal attack. Wasn't the right choice in my opinion, and he's going to pay the high price for that and be eliminated here of the WCS Europe round of 16. That's going to be it for the analysis. Let's go and check in with Red Eye.
Thank you very much, Todd. Nicely broken down there. And as you heard from Welmu, it was a sneaky little demo that maybe TLO hadn't been able to see because that game wasn't actually streamed. It just shows you what these guys think about before they go into a match. Talking of players, you may have seen earlier on, there was a bit of a bromance going on down in the crowd, and we thought we'd give you a little bit of context about it because it was around a picture that was taken earlier on, which looks like this. Hopefully we can show this to you. There you go. Look at that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful, that is. That's Daishi proposing to Jack G. And that was taken by Penguin earlier on, my Insanity manager. So that's why they were getting cuddly earlier and being fun and enjoying their matches, as many of the crowd here are today as well. They have lost their hometown hero, though, so let's find out who they cheer for in the final game. Our last place in the round of 8 for today from Group C is between Baby Knight and Welmu. And it's right here when you come back.